Kia ora and welcome to this Blackcaps video. Just going to talk through some of the key performers for the Blackcaps in their series against Australia. Cute little October T20 International Series at the Bay Oval, and you know how we roll at the Nichecache, just always positive, always grateful, good vibes, and that's something I've been thinking about because you hear the odd person complain, what are they doing playing cricket in October? This is so stupid. What a waste of time. It's going to rain. I don't know, mate. I had fun. I had a good time watching some cricket on the telly. And we know that in New Zealand, cricket sells tickets. So there are a lot of fans there. Given the situation, fans still showed up in the rain. Everyone had a jolly old time. Let's start our Monday this week with a bit of positivity. Like, we just had some fun watching a bit of cricket. What's wrong with that? Obviously the Blackcaps lost, and it's a tricky kind of thing because we've got a lot of T20 cricket coming at you. It's hard and fast, and we got a lot of Blackcaps competing for top tier squad status, and this is a really cool position for New Zealand cricket and the Blackcaps. But we know, we've already talked about all that. You know how talented all the Kiwi cricketers are, the top tier, the regulars in the squad, and all the emerging talent. Because if you go through the under-19 development series that happened last week, some of those dudes, they got some crazy talent. So make sure you check out those clips on our YouTube channel, on Instagram, whatever you want to do, because Marco Alpe, poor Aryan Man, there was Hugo Bogue from Queenstown, Jaskaran Sandhu, all those dudes were going crazy in the under-19 development series as an example of the talent coming out of Aotearoa. And one of those emerging talents is Tim Robinson, who hit a century in the first game, big Donny century, 106 not out. In his last 10 games of cricket, he's got a couple 60s in the One Day Cup in England, and then he's got his 106 not out. And Tim Robinson's actually a sneaky factor in the Blackcaps T20 mixer. Since the start of 2024, he is now 5th for New Zealand runs, and he's got the second highest average for dudes at the top of the run scoring charts. He's averaging 36.09. Next, the only dude with a high average is Tim Seifert, 37.2. Tim Robinson has a very good strike rate, 137. And then if we go to 2025, the year, Tim Robinson, second for runs. He's averaging 86.3 this year. He's got a strike rate of 145, and he's got a century and a half century because he had a very good innings in the T20 Tri-Series batting alongside Bevan Jacobs. Let's just go look at his scores this year. Well, let's slide back to last summer, because he did play a couple T20s against Sri Lanka in New Zealand. So they had the tour to Sri Lanka. And Tim Robinson, actually, he did hit a 50 in Pakistan last year as well. But the Sri Lanka came to New Zealand, and Tim Robinson had scores of 11, 41, 37. Then the Pakistan T20 series, he hit an 18 not out. Then we go Tri-Series, 75 not out, 10, 106 not out, and 13. So he's got 3 not outs in his last 6 innings, all of which is in 2025. That's why his average is so high this year. But Tim Robinson, very good batter. And he's also, there's only 3 batters for New Zealand who have hit at least 2 50-plus scores this year. Tim Seifert's got 3 50s. I think he's our best T20 batter right now. Top of the run scoring charts in 2025. Top of the run scoring charts since the start of 2024. Very useful having Tim Seifert as a wicket keeper and an opening batter as well. He's got 3 50s. Robinson's got a century and a 50. Rachin Ravindra has 2 50s. The best way I can map out the Blackcaps batting department is to, I've got 5 batters who need to be on my team, and they actually form a pretty cool top 5 in a batting unit. We've got Tim Seifert, we've got Finn Allen, we've got Rachin Ravindra, Daryl Mitchell, and Glenn Phillips. I want those dudes in my T20 team if they're all available, healthy, good to go. That is a pretty cool top 5 batting unit, but even if it's not strictly 1 to 5, I just need those 5 batters in my team. You might catch my drift here of how funky things are, because outside of those 5 dudes, we have Devon Conway, Tim Robinson, Kane Williamson, Mark Chapman, and then you've got Bevan Jacobs and Mitch Hay. I think we'll wait and see what Bevan Jacobs does if he gets another crack against England. We'll wait to see what he does against England. I think Mitch Hay is just a few notches down the pecking order, mainly because he's a wicketkeeper. We don't really need a wicketkeeper like that in the squad, because you've also got Devon Conway who can cover wicketkeeper at a stretch, and Finn Allen's done that as well a bit. But you got 4 dudes there: Conway, Robinson, Williamson, and Mark Chapman. That is a very competitive second tier group of T20 batters. I'm being generous to Kane Williamson. I don't think Kane Williamson is a T20 factor at all. I think I wrote down in my deep dive kind of series review, Kane Williamson has the lowest strike rate of batters with like 500 plus runs since the start of 2020. And he doesn't play for New Zealand. So there's a situation where Kane Williamson, he wasn't doing enough to be a first 11 T20 batter for New Zealand when he was playing. Now he's not playing, so he's not scoring runs. And other dudes are scoring runs. The thing with Williamson, whatever your view about strike rates are, Williamson is not a strike rater. He has a low strike rate compared to a lot of other batters, and if we just compare him directly to Tim Robinson, so Williamson's played 5 innings. He's got a good average, higher average than Robinson since the start of 2024. 37 average, strike rate of 125. Robinson, in this period, 14 innings, average of 36, strike rate of 137. I'm being generous to Kane Williamson by putting him in this mix. At the niche cache, we have been talking a long time that Kane Williamson may not be a first 11 T20 cricketer. And then it gets into like, well, are you selecting Robinson ahead of Williamson? Are you selecting Conway ahead of Williamson? I'm also underwhelmed by Devon Conway. Since the start of 2024, he's averaging 24.5, strike rate of 125. Devon Conway and Kane Williamson are the low strike rate batters in this Blackcaps batting unit. But Chapman's also slipped a wee bit. He is averaging 17.6 since the start of 2024, strike rate of 137, same as Tim Robinson. This year, Chapman's played 13 games, which is the most, alongside Tim Seifert, Daryl Mitchell, Michael Bracewell. But Chapman's averaging 15, strike rate of 146. So that's why Chapman has dropped out of the top tier, and he's in that competitive battle with Conway, Robinson, and Williamson. I don't know what I'd do. Obviously, when you've got that starting 5, Finn Allen's out injured, so then Devon Conway can open. Rachin Ravindra's out injured, Tim Robinson comes in. Phillips is out injured, then there's a spot for Mark Chapman. So it's all about who is available, who is healthy, who is active, and in Williamson's case, who actually wants to play for New Zealand, because Kane Williamson, he's a legend. We all love Kane Williamson. He's taken the piss, right? He's picking and choosing his spots. That's cool. He's earned that right. But at some point, if you're taking the piss, if you're picking and choosing your spots, you got to score some runs, because other dudes are scoring runs. And in this series, it was Tim Robinson who got his score. He's actually the only dude with a century this year. And Since the start of 2024, Finn Allen does have a century. So Robinson and Finn Allen are the only dudes with a century. We'll see how that batting unit develops. But Robinson, he's building his case. He's got to be there. Very good strokes, 360. In Zimbabwe, he had a 6 over point. He's got excellent shots, good on the pull shot, good through the covers, good down the ground. Tim Robinson's a really good batter, and he's actually been quite active for New Zealand, 15 games since the start of 2024, and he has played 7 games this year, which is more than Finn Allen, and it's more than Rachin Ravindra. So Robinson is a T20 factor for New Zealand, and we'll see how that batting unit develops over this week, because we'll get a squad against England named very soon. Jimmy Neesham also did some stuff. And Jimmy Neesham, I'm admiring Jimmy Neesham right now, because Jimmy Neesham's actions tell us that he is desperate to play for New Zealand. And he was a very active player in domestic cricket last summer for someone who was on that T20 circuit, and he took wickets for New Zealand, and he's scored some runs. He took 4 wickets in the only game he played, and 25 with a good strike rate. Let me check the exact strike rate for Jimmy Neesham, 139. 1 game sample size for Jimmy Neesham in this series. He only played 1 game of the Tri-Series in Zimbabwe as well. But Jimmy Neesham, he is a T20 factor because he's all about the strike rate. Now, his batting has actually been kind of terrible. Averaging 10 strike rate of 104 since the start of 2024. This year, Jimmy Neesham with the bat, he's averaging 7.2 with a strike rate of 100. That is not good. But Jimmy Neesham, we know what he does with the bat. He bangs boundaries in the middle order. Very experienced player. And if I was building like my first 11 T20 team, I'm not saying Jimmy Neesham would be straight in there, but I think I'd rather have Jimmy Neesham than Bevan Jacobs, just because I can rely on Jimmy Neesham right now. Bevan Jacobs will be awesome. I think he's awesome right now, but it's just a bit of experience there with Jimmy Neesham, and Jimmy Neesham's a crazy bowler in T20s. He is a highly efficient bowler in T20s for New Zealand. Since the start of 2024, he's averaging 12.4 with the ball, with a strike rate of 9.6, which is the lowest. And he's the only dude below 10 who has taken more than 3 wickets for New Zealand in this period. So we'll get into Jacob Duffy in a second. He's got a strike rate of 12.9. Henry, 13.3. Ish Sodhi, 16.9. Lockie Ferguson, 11.3. Jimmy Neesham is 9.6 in 9 innings, 14 games. This year, Jimmy Neesham has a strike rate of 8.5. He's averaging 10.5 with the ball, 7.4 RPO. And again, bowling strike rates for the best Blackcaps T20 bowlers this year. Duffy, 11.6. Henry, 12.1. Neesham, 8.5. Sodhi, 12.1. Jimmy Neesham is doing some crazy stuff with the ball. And if we go to, where does Jimmy Neesham rank all time for New Zealand bowling strike rates? We've got a lot of dudes here, right? Shout out Aaron Redman, 2 wickets at 8.5 strike rate. Paul Hitchcock, 2 wickets at 9 strike rate. George Worker, 1 wicket at strike rate of 12. Okay, let's set the bar a bit higher. 20 plus wickets. Jacob Duffy, he has the lowest strike rate for New Zealand bowlers all time with 20 plus wickets. That's Jacob Duffy. I'm already segueing into Jacob Duffy. We'll incorporate Jacob Duffy into this Jimmy Neesham bowling strike rate discussion, because right now, Jacob Duffy, he's a T20 bowling legend. And this is similar to the rise of Rachin Ravindra as a T20 batter. It's kind of happened under the radar. People weren't checking in that much. Rachin Ravindra starts scoring runs. He's scoring runs quickly. Now suddenly Rachin Ravindra is our best all-format batter in New Zealand. Jacob Duffy is a T20 bowling legend. Happened under the radar. 41 wickets at a strike rate of 14.1. That is a slightly lower strike rate than Lockie Ferguson, 14.3. Matt Henry, 15.2. And then Jimmy Neesham, 51 wickets at a strike rate of 15.9. That is lower than Trent Boult, 16.7. Lower than Tim Southee, 16.7. Ish Sodhi is 17. Right, Adam Milne, highly efficient, highly effective T20 bowler, 17.8. Jimmy Neesham, he is almost in the same legendary status as Jacob Duffy as a T20 bowler for New Zealand. Now, many people wouldn't expect that to be the case. But just like Jacob Duffy sneaking under the radar with just a crazy bowling strike rate, highly crazy, ludicrous, bonkers, Jimmy Neesham is right there as well. Thing about Jimmy Neesham, he can smash boundaries as he did against Australia. Hasn't been doing it as great in the last 2 years. But I think Jimmy Neesham is a very good T20 all-rounder. Not saying he's a first 11 monster, but he's in the mix for sure. That middle order is quite interesting because statistically there is a overlap with Jimmy Neesham and Michael Bracewell. Michael Bracewell, solid batting since the start of 2024, averaging 25, strike rate of 138. This year, strike rate of average of 31, strike rate of 154. Michael Bracewell's batting in T20s is pretty good. His bowling, not so good. Since the start of 2024, he's averaging 45, strike rate of 30.6, like double, triple, quadruple Jimmy Neesham. This year, Michael Bracewell, he's averaging 65 with the ball. So Michael Bracewell's batting, solid, bowling, stink. Jimmy Neesham, batting, stink, bowling, excellent. And that's just something interesting to ponder, because I think now I'm trying to view Michael Bracewell just as a batter. And if Santner comes back into the mix, he's going to be bowling more spin overs. You do have Bracewell to bowl some spin. You got Rachin Ravindra who can bowl some spin. But I'm viewing Michael Bracewell more as a batter who might bowl spin. And that, maybe Michael Bracewell just bats 5. Maybe Michael Bracewell is locked in as a batter at number 6. And again, compared to Bevan Jacobs, I view Michael Bracewell as a more reliable performer at the international stage. Very useful with the ball. He can do a job with the ball. He can improve and blow away his recent stink form with the ball. Same way Jimmy Neesham, as he showed against Australia, he can score some runs. He only needs to score 20 off 10, 25 off 15, 30 off 20. Like, that's all Jimmy Neesham needs to do with the bat. But his bowling is exquisite. It doesn't make much sense. But right now, as a T20 bowler for New Zealand, Jimmy Neesham is in a groove. And that groove was also on display in the T20 Blast, playing for Durham. First of all, typical Jimmy Neesham with the bat, averaging 26, strike rate of 150. With the ball, though, Jimmy Neesham in the T20 Blast this year, 21 wickets at an average of 19.8, same legendary strike rate stuff, 12.6. And if we go to his career bowling, T20 internationals, Jimmy Neesham's averaging 23.6. T20s overall, 24.7. Strike rate of 16.4. T20 internationals, strike rate of 15.9. Jimmy Neesham's a factor. Same way Tim Robinson is a factor in this T20 mixer. Got to shout them out because they're part of this pretty deep T20 mixer. I'm not saying it's deep and it's full of it's not deep like the Australian batting order. Right, like those dudes, that's just the crazy batting lineup. But there's just a lot of competition for spots, and Jimmy Neesham has added himself into that equation. And Jimmy Neesham has consistently shown that he is desperate to play for New Zealand. Any chance he gets, he is willing to do it, and he's willing to be a squad member. That's the thing about Jimmy Neesham. T20 Tri-Series. One game, he's there with the squad, he's there with the boys, representing New Zealand. I don't even think he was in the initial squad for this series against Australia, but he's there, shows up, does his job. He's willing to be part of the squad and not playing. But when he does play, he's kind of taken his opportunities. He's got to be a factor in this top tier T20 mix for the Blackcaps. Then we get to Jacob Duffy. Lumsden's finest, Jacob Duffy. T20 international bowling average of 16.9. 30 games, 29 innings, 16.9 average, strike rate of 14.1. He's also been very good in ODI bowling, 24.8 average in 14 innings. And of course, he made his test debut in Zimbabwe. Since the start of 2024, he's averaging 15.1. He's got 31 wickets. He's the only bowler with more than 25 wickets. This year, averaging 13.8. He's got 23 wickets. And he's the only bowler with more than 15 wickets. And if we look at workload, Jacob Duffy is the only seamer who has bowled more than 60 overs since the start of 2024. And he is the only seamer who has bowled more than 30 overs this year with 44.4. He's also the only seam bowler who has played in more than 10 T20 internationals this year. Not only has Jacob Duffy taken his opportunities as far as taking wickets, not his best series against Australia, but he took 1 wicket in the second game, 2 wickets in the third game. Not only is he taking his opportunities, but Jacob Duffy is getting a lot of opportunities. He's definitely the busiest T20 bowler for New Zealand, T20 seamer for New Zealand since the start of 2024. He's playing a lot, and that has flowed into this year, but many people, like even myself, I was more Matt Henry. Matt Henry's the dude. Matt Henry's the all-format monster. Matt Henry is, his development in T20 bowling has been a significant wrinkle for the Blackcaps. But now it's just Jacob Duffy. Jacob Duffy is always playing. Jacob Duffy is always taking wickets, and similar stuff with the batting. Okay, how do you get Will O'Rourke in the team? Well, is Will O'Rourke better than Jacob Duffy? Is Kyle Jamieson better than Jacob Duffy? Adam Milne, Lockie Ferguson, Nathan Smith, Zach Folks. Are these dudes better than Jacob Duffy at T20 bowling right now? No, because Jacob Duffy's better than Matt Henry, and those dudes aren't as good as Matt Henry. So Jacob Duffy's doing some crazy stuff. As I alluded to before, he has the lowest bowling strike rate for New Zealand T20 bowlers all time who have taken 20 plus wickets. And if we set that benchmark lower to just 10 wickets, there's only 2 dudes ahead of him. Jeetan Patel, 16 wickets at a strike rate of 12.4. Grant Elliott, 14 wickets at a strike rate of 12.8. Both less than 20 wickets in less than 20 games. Jacob Duffy's 41 wickets at a strike rate of 14.1. So Jacob Duffy's doing not just really good T20 bowling right now, he is doing legendary New Zealand T20 bowling forever, all time. And again, Jacob Duffy, T20 Blast, this year, 10 wickets, averaging 23.2, strike rate of 16.8. And in the 100, he took 8 wickets at a strike rate of 22.5, average of 22.5, strike rate of 15. So Jacob Duffy's performances for New Zealand, they were excellent before his stint in England. They are excellent after his stint in England. And he is, right now, Jacob Duffy's averaging under 30 in all 3 formats for New Zealand. He's averaging under 25 in ODI bowling, T20 international bowling, and T20 bowling. His one-day list day average is just 25.2. Jacob Duffy, again, he's a factor. He's a factor in T20 bowling. He's our best T20 bowler right now, and he's a very good ODI bowler. Be interesting to see how he fits into the test equation this summer. But Jacob Duffy took 3 wickets against Australia. He continues to be in dynamic form for New Zealand. And along with Jimmy Neesham and Tim Robinson, they are making the perception versus reality about Blackcaps selection far more complicated and complex than I think many Kiwi cricket fans would assume. Big up on your Monday. Enjoy your week. We'll be doing our podcast tomorrow on Tuesday, chatting a whole lot more Kiwi cricket, so stay tuned. Yeah, mate. G'day. See you later. Have a good one.